Welcome to our new winter planted demos, where even fair weather gardeners can have fun.
The garden may be dormant, but we don't have to be.
Nothing better than futzing around with your houseplants when it's blustery outside, so join us from the BCAT studio for this special episode of Planted. Houseplants. In a word, how plant lovers get their fix when it's awful outside.
We have our favorites to share with you, plus tips for winter houseplant care.
My first houseplant was a pothos, which are gorgeous, forgiving, and I still grow them. Another lesser known but easy plant is the dancing bones cactus. It's a cute name, huh? It's a succulent that can cascade to 3 feet long, and it likes medium to bright light. A bunch of my houseplants are cactus and succulents because they don't need as much humidity as other tropical houseplants. Our homes are dry from air conditioning and heating, and succulents take that in stride with less susceptibility to spider mites. They also don't need much water. Other succulents that make good houseplants are Christmas cactus, sedum, snake plants, and jade plants.
I have quite a bit of those as well. My favorite houseplant is a black ZZ. Why? Because she produces these long, beautiful new green shoots that slowly turn dark black as it matures. I just adore the contrast of having a black-leafed plant mixed in with the various shades of green in my house. The ZZ is very easy to care for, with only requiring water every 2 to 4 weeks. They like to completely dry out in between watering and very rarely need fertilizing. It's a perfect addition for any busy household.
I agree. This is a great pick.
Yeah.
Now for winter houseplant care, watering takes more careful observation. You'll want to water less, but monitor because central heating can dry plants out. If there's water in the saucer that hasn't been reabsorbed 10 minutes later, after watering, pour it out and wait to water again until the soil completely dries out. Otherwise, you can kill the plant or bring on a batch of soil gnats. If your houseplant does get super waterlogged, you might try completely repotting it in fresh, dry soil when you realize it to prevent further root damage. When we overwater, water molecules displace oxygen in the pores between the soil particles. And in the weeks that it takes for really soggy soil to completely dry out and evaporate, the roots can suffocate and die.
Let's talk about fertilizing in the winter, when plants are dormant. Even if they don't appear dormant or even bloom in the winter, like Christmas cactus or anthurium, resist. Yeah. I do my first feeding in March and my last feeding in early September. Too much fertilizer at any time of year can cause the soft growth that promotes aphids, mealybugs, and scale insects. So whether we use liquid fertilizer at a reduced rate every time you water, fertilize once a month, or put slow-release fertilizer beads or sticks in the pot, give your plants a break over fall and winter. Come early spring, back at it with measured regularity.
And in winter, watch temperatures. Most houseplants are tropical and don't like temperatures below 50 degrees for any length of time. So be careful what plants you have on windowsills when the outdoor temps drop sharply, or they can freeze. And if you vacation in the winter, remember not to completely turn off your heat, or plants can suffer from the cold. Alternately, moisture and humidity-loving plants like ferns shouldn't be too close to heat vents because they get blasted with hot, dry air.
So fast. Watering with cold tap water can shock your plants. Try keeping a watering can filled so it stays at room temperature. That way it will also let chlorine evaporate out between watering. Some house plants can be kind of sensitive to chlorine.
And lastly, because natural light is scarcer in the winter, don't forget to rotate your plants. That way they don't get permanently lopsided reaching for the light. And that's good to do all year.
Definitely. We hope planted viewers get bit by the houseplant bug. With new introductions all the time, this never gets boring.
Yeah, and houseplants are the perfect fix for that cat in the hat kind of winter day. So thanks for joining us. And remember, the more you grow,
the more you know. The best time to transplant houseplants is late winter through early spring, making it a perfect project for a cold, rainy day. Transplanting is essential for plant health, and caring for your plant babies is a nice pick-me-up for the gardener too.
It sure is. And the clearest signs that a plant's ready for transplanting are roots coming out of the bottom of the pot, when the soil surface is crusty and pulls away from the side of the pot, or water just won't soak in. And boy, this ZZ plant needs it. So let's get this baby transplanted.
Here are the materials you're going to need. A new pot with drainage holes. I like 2 to 3 inches larger in diameter than the old one. a saucer for under the pot to protect furniture, and for extra protection, a cork mat. Fresh potting soil, all-purpose potting mix will work for most tropical houseplants, but some plants need a special mix, like orchids or cacti. Trowels or small shovels and scoopers. Gardening gloves, if you like. A watering can. Sharp scissors or pruning shears. And a planting tub or tarp to catch soil.
Once you have everything ready, carefully take your plant out of the pot. If the plant's roots are tightly wrapped around the root ball, gently untangle them with your fingers, and as you're doing so, shake or brush off as much of the old soil as possible. Fresh soil will help support new root development after transplanting. Next, cleanly cut away any damaged, mushy, or long roots that won't fit back into the pot without kinking or bending. You can tell healthy roots by their firm, plump consistency. Prepare the new pot with a small amount of fresh potting soil at the bottom and lower the plant into the pot to check the level. Add more or take some out to get the right height. Fill in the space around the root ball with fresh soil, gently pressing it down as you go to remove air pockets. You'll want the top of the soil when you're done to be an inch or more below the edge of the pot. Make sure the plant is straight and standing upright in the pot, and that the crown of the plant is at the same surface level as it was in the old pot. If you cover up the crown, you could cause the plant to rot. Add or remove soil as needed. Then apply water slowly until the excess drains out of the bottom of the pot. It may take a while to thoroughly wet the soil if the new mix was very dry. Let the water drain freely and completely out before placing it on a saucer. If watering caused the soil level to sink, add more soil. If the plant seems wobbly now, consider staking it temporarily until the roots regrow and stabilize.
If you really had to go to town on the roots, removing a bunch of them, the plant might need some special care. For instance, if the plant lives in a very sunny spot like a south-facing or west-facing window, let it hang out in a shady location. Keep an eye out for signs of transplant shock, such as wilting or yellowing leaves. This may be temporary, but there might be issues like over or under watering. After transplanting, the plant's roots may need time to adjust and may not take up as much water as before. Fresh soil will hold more moisture than old soil. The best way to test soil moisture is to put your finger in a couple inches or use a moisture meter.
Wait about 4 to 6 weeks before fertilizing again, as the fresh soil should contain enough nutrients to sustain the plant temporarily, and you don't want to risk burning tender new rootlets. When you notice new growth, you should be good to fertilize again lightly. Since this is a messy project, repotting several plants at a time makes setup and cleanup a lot more efficient. And just remember to clean your pruner between plants. You can compost the old potting soil and clean the old pot if you want to reuse it.
And there you go. This plant is ready for a new stage of healthy growth, and you're ready to repot the next one.
Before we head out, if you're looking for a good houseplant book, we like The Houseplant Expert by Dr. D.G. Hisayan.
Thanks for watching our Planted Winter Studio demos. And remember, the more you grow,
the more you know.